We begin this hour, though, with an escalation in the ongoing protests on college campuses. Protesters are occupying a building at Columbia University. That's video of protesters breaking windows and doors to get into the building. Columbia is now threatening to expel any students occupying that building. The White House releasing a statement today saying, in part, President Biden respects the right to free expression, but protests must be peaceful and lawful. Forcibly taking over buildings is not peaceful. It is wrong. The education secretary telling Congress this morning that federal dollars could be at stake if schools don't take action. More than 1,100 people have been arrested nationwide during these protests. Police and protesters faced off at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond. That ended with 13 arrests. Police also arresting several demonstrators at UNC Chapel Hill this morning. And nearly 80 people were arrested during protests on Monday at the University of Texas at Austin. We have a team of correspondents for you now from California to Capitol Hill. We're going to begin with NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton at Columbia. Antonia, I know you spoke with a Columbia student who saw everything play out in those overnight hours. What did he say about the occupation of that building? And what is the school doing now, if anything, to try to move students out?
Hey, Kate. Well, that's right. We spoke with this student who was in his dorm, which is right next to Hamilton Hall, the building behind me here that has now for hours been occupied by dozens of students inside. He watched all this transpire. He walked outside and he saw students grabbing items like gates and furniture and zip ties to barricade themselves inside. He also says that he saw physical altercation between counter protesters who tried to stop those students from blocking one of the entrances into Hamilton Hall. Take a listen to some of my conversation with him of what he describes as a very chaotic scene.
I think it's a little surreal. I mean, that's my mood, at least, just sort of in shock that this is happening, that it's been allowed to get this far. People that aren't living on campus no longer have access to it. I mean, I got several calls from my parents this morning asking for me to come home. I think I might be obliging them. It's unbelievable.
On the school's part, Kate, we know that they're threatening expulsion for students. They've sent that notice out to the community, to faculty and staff and the students themselves. But the piece we really still don't know is how are they actually going to get students out? How do they bring this to an end? They haven't been clear on that part yet, Kate.
All right, Antonia, thank you so much. Let's go over to NBC News correspondent David Noriega. He's at UCLA in Los Angeles. David, the university, I know, says it's evaluating campus events on a case-by-case basis. What are you hearing from the school and from the protesters there?
Yeah, hey, Kate, the situation here is still, for the most part, pretty calm compared to what we're seeing in New York and in Austin, but it's tense, and it seems to have certainly the potential to escalate. There have been some viral videos online of protesters allegedly blocking students from getting to class. You know, interestingly, what I've seen is that certain walkways have been blocked, not by the protesters, but by private security contracted by the university to manage access into and out of the encampment, which students have very tightly controlled. They're only letting people in who have someone already inside the encampment who can vouch for them. There's a system of wristbands. Generally speaking, they're actually quite organized in how they're managing all of this. Just in the last few minutes, someone from the university circulated this statement, which just came from Mary Osako, Vice Chancellor for UCLA Strategic Communications. She said, in reference to these allegations of protesters blocking students' access to class, that they have taken several immediate actions. The one that jumps out to me is our student conduct process has been initiated, which could lead to severe disciplinary action, including expulsion or suspension. That hasn't happened yet. They're just, you know, it's more of a threat than anything. Earlier today, we saw this moment where a protester climbed up some scaffolding to plant a Palestinian flag. That led to a police response, which in turn led to a pretty substantial response by the protesters in the encampment, who mobilized to, from what I could tell, block the police from taking this protester away from the camp. You know, they were using homemade shields that they made out of trash cans that they cut in half, or big pieces of plywood. To me, what that showed is, again, these protesters have been training and preparing for a significant escalation with law enforcement. Both the protesters and the universities here are facing pretty strategically and tactically difficult decisions in terms of whether and how to escalate. Again, what we've seen here is nothing compared to New York and Austin, but it certainly has the potential to heat up quite a bit. Kate?
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, let's bring in NBC News correspondent Guad Venegas. Speaking of the University of Texas at Austin, that's where he is. So, Guad, have we seen police? I know we've seen them in the past days in riot gear, even arresting demonstrators. But what's happening on campus today?
Okay, that's right. So we saw state troopers arrive for a second time since the protests started last week. That was yesterday when they came in. So today we have protesters gathered once again in that same area behind me. They're speaking to each other. They have a professor leading the conversation to exchange ideas. So things have changed every day since we had that first walkout last Wednesday. That's when the state police arrived, and we had that stand-up between the state police, local police on one side, and of course the students on the other side. We saw the first arrest, and then we saw a Thursday and Friday that had protesters without police stepping in. But what happened on Monday that was slightly different is that some of the protesters came in with tents in the area behind me. They also set up a wall with tables, and that seems to be what triggered authorities here. That's what triggered officials, who then called in the state troopers for a second time, and chaos erupted. About 79 individuals have been arrested. At one point, the state troopers also pushed some of those remaining protesters out of this area. So it was quite violent yesterday. Today, again, these protesters are back. And we also have protesters outside of the local jail where the individuals were taken. Many of them had been outside with blankets protesting for those individuals to be released. We know that the first group that was arrested on Wednesday, most of them have been released and the charges have been dropped. So we'll have to wait and see what happens to the individuals that have been arrested, the ones that were arrested yesterday, and also how authorities or officials at the university are going to handle the protesters here.
Guad Venegas in Texas, David Noriega out in Los Angeles, and Antonia Hilton was with us in New York. Thank you to all of you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.